Chapter 9 is all about measurement, and we are going to look at American units, and we're going to look at metric units, and we're going to look at converting between the two different types. We're going to focus first on American units, so let's look at some of our conversions. We know that 1 yard is 3 feet. Probably the most common one on here is 1 foot, which equals 12 inches. 1 yard equals 36 inches, and 1 mile is 5,280 feet. Another one that's not on here is 1 yard equals 3 feet. So we're going to use these conversions to help us with our problems in converting from feet to inches, miles to yards, and so on. So how do we do that? For instance, the first one, 7.5 feet or 7 5/10 feet equals how many inches? What I like to do is set up what I call my ratios or conversion factors. So if 7.5 feet, I write 7.5 feet, and it's very important to keep your unit with your number over 1, and then I'm going to multiply that by a conversion factor. Now, do I have a conversion factor that relates feet and inches? Yes, I do. I'm going to put feet on the bottom, and I know 1 foot is 12 inches. Now, the reason why I put the feet on the bottom is because when I'm working with fractions, as you know, if I have something on the top and it matches something on the bottom, they cancel each other out. We usually do this with numbers, but you can do this with units as well. And what that leaves me is with the unit that I want, which is inches. So now, all I have to do is the math. My denominator, as you can see, is 1 times 1, so that's just over 1. And 7.5 times 12 is 90. So I have 90 over 1, which is just going to be 90 inches. So 7.5 feet or 7.5 feet is 90 inches after the conversion. Let's do another one. How about 18 yards is how many feet? So again, I like to start with my 18 yards. I start with what I'm given, and I put it over 1. Do we have a conversion factor that relates yards and feet? Yes, we do. We know that, and my yards are going to go on the bottom, we know that 1 yard is 3 feet. And again, I chose to put my yards on the bottom so that it would cancel with my yards on the top. I could have put 1 yard over 3 feet, but that wouldn't have helped me cancel my units. This leaves me with the units that I want, which is just feet. Now I do the math, multiply across. 18 times 3 is going to be 54, and I have feet, and my denominator is 1 times 1, which is just 1, so I'm just going to leave it at 54 feet. Let's try 162 inches equals how many yards? So again, start with what I'm given, 162 inches, put it over 1. What's my conversion factor that relates inches to yards? Well, because I want inches on the bottom, because I want it to cancel, then that means my yards must go on top. And I know that I have 36 inches in 1 yard. So when I cancel my units, my inches, I'm left with yards. And when I do the math, I multiply straight across. That gives me 162 yards over 36. And notice there's no units on that because I crossed out my inches. So now, to finish off the math, I actually have to divide 162 divided by 36. And I get 4.5 yards, or 4 5/10 yards. The key to solving conversion problems is to make sure you set up your conversion factors or your ratios so that your units cancel with one another. So make sure if you're starting off with inches and you want to convert that to yards, that your inches in your original ratio would cancel with inches in a denominator of your conversion factor. So they have to be in opposite places for them to cancel out. So the key is setting up your ratios properly.